Good morning, viewers and listeners of Concerned Citizens Media. Thank you again for joining me. Uh, I just stopped by to share a little bit updates on different news. So I have some video to share with you, especially about the killing of Al-Qaida number one. He was number two before Osama bin Laden was killed. Then he became number one. So there is a video on that one. So the United States is claiming, uh, killing him. The other one is also uh, European Union special representatives heading to Mekele. Now is getting permission, and U.S. continued assistance to Ukraine. And these are some of the news I have for today. Also, the crisis in Iraq. The big issue about Ethiopia is, where is the Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed? Where is still no clear answer. The government didn't say anything. They just operating like normal. Uh, so the public already forced to pray, to say thank you. And so there is no way they can ask the whereabouts of the prime minister, because they are ordered. Religious institutions and public servants, others asked, actually demanded to pray and to thank everything they went through. So instead of challenging the government, challenging the system, they are now praying for the system. And they can't say nothing. They cannot know about the prime minister. So the country is now headed or governed by deputy prime minister and foreign minister Mekele. He is now replacing Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and conducting the business of the Prime Minister. And the public is in the limbo. They don't have the power. They don't have any reaction except to pray. So we don't know where is the Prime Minister. The country is without the head of the administration. Only one credible news outlet, that's Garo Online. Garo Online is a Somalian online outlet that's claiming the prime minister was injured in Ethiopia, taken to Mekele, then transferred to United Arab Emirates and getting treatment there. That's the only thing we have now. And the international media, the Western media, especially BBC, Reuters, New York Times, CNN, all are silent. All are silent about this issue. Maybe they don't have intelligence. We don't know, but they are silent about the whereabouts of the prime minister. So we don't know. We don't have enough information about Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. The country is in a vacuum now, without the head of the administration. And the Ethiopians are just asked to pray. They're just praying. So they don't have to challenge the system. They don't have to challenge. They don't have to ask the whereabouts of Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. So the next news is about EU Horn Special Representative to travel to Mekele. Annette Weber, European Union Special Representative for the Horn of Africa, said she will travel to Mekele, the capital of Tigray regional state, to support the efforts of the AU mediation. Mrs. Weber said this afternoon, according to Ethiopian time, a meeting with Deputy Prime Minister and the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mekele, describing her visit to Ethiopia and the meeting with Foreign Minister Mekele as encouraging. She said the focus of her meeting was on peace talks and the resumption of basic service to Tigray, which is good. The announcement of her travel to Mekele came in the backdrop of a meeting held between Ambassador Ridwan Hussein, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed Security Advisor, and Dr. Gideon Timotheus, Minister of Justice, Horn of Africa Special Envoy of the United Nations, the EU, and the USA, as well as Ambassador of US, France, Germany, Italy, and the UK to Ethiopia, in which the former two briefed the latter on the ruling party's position about the peace talks between the federal and Tigray regional state governments. Ridwan said that the federal government was ready to talks anytime, anywhere, and that talks should begin without precondition. He added that the diplomats were allowed for a round trip to Mekele. Mrs. Weber also met with President Sahle-Work Zaude and pledged that the EU stands committed to support the peace talks and appreciate the courage of the parties to take this step to bring calm, peace, and development to the people of Ethiopia. However, she didn't clarify if the EU wants the peace talks to start without the resumption of basic service to Tigray, including banking and telecommunication. Debretsion Gebremichael, PhD, president of Tigray Regional State, told the local Tigray TV last week that Tigray wants to end the war with peaceful resolution, but to hold peace talks, certain preconditions must be met initially. Among others, basic services must be restored, he said. He's right. The basic service, and these people are suffering for almost 2 years. No basic service, no electricity, no water, no banking system, no telecommunication service. So this is horrible. So it should be restored before the beginning of the dialogue or the discussion. So this should be a precondition. You cannot talk while your people are suffering. So this is a good beginning, and allowing this EU representative to go and back into the region is also encouraging to resolve the conflict. So PP is not like before. They cannot brag about their power, and they are ready. They are really ready to resolve, at least on what they say, to negotiate without any precondition, anytime, anywhere. We never heard this from Prosperity Party before, so this is a good beginning, and it should be. We usually don't trust them what they say, but I hope they are telling us the truth. So this conflict should end peacefully, And we should also end the conflict we have in Oromia region. The war is still waging on Oromos, and that also need special attention if we want to bring peace, stability in Ethiopia. And the credit for this news is Addis Standard. The other one is about United States providing additional funding for Ukraine self-defense. It says 550 million military assistance for Ukraine self-defense. This will bring the total U.S. assistance to Ukraine since the beginning of Biden administration to 8.7 billion. It's a lot of money, 8.7 billion. And the war still continues. The destruction of Ukraine still continues. And the statement, the U.S. State Department statement concludes in such a way. It says, our commitment to the people of Ukraine will not waver. We stand united with Ukraine. So this is in addition to other European countries also providing money, weapons to Ukraine, but it's not stopping the war. It's not stopping the destruction of Ukraine. It's not stopping Vladimir Putin, waging the war in Ukraine. So they have to figure out. They have to figure out how to end this war. It's taking our tax money, our taxpayers' money too much, heading to that way. In addition to the challenges we are facing back home here, inflation and the fear of recession. So it should be there should be a closing. We cannot just keep sending weapons, money to Ukraine. They have to find it. They have to figure out how to end this war. So let's continue with the videos and finish up today's presentation. There we go. Let's see. There we go. The first one is about Biden announcing the killing of Ayman al-Zawahiri, Al-Qaida #1, who replaced Osama bin Laden after Osama bin Laden was killed.
Years of war, the United States no longer needed thousands of boots on the ground in Afghanistan to protect America from terrorists who seek to do us harm. And I made a promise to the American people that we continue to conduct effective counterterrorism operations in Afghanistan and beyond. We've done just that. In February, our forces conducted a daring mission in Syria that eliminated the emir of ISIS. Last month, we took out another key ISIS leader. Now we have eliminated the emir of Al-Qaida. He will never again allow Afghanistan to become a terrorist safe haven, because he is gone, and we're going to make sure that nothing else happens. It can't be a launching pad against the United States. We're going to see to it that won't happen. This operation is a clear demonstration that we will, we can, and will always make good on the solemn pledge. My administration will continue to vigilantly monitor and address threats from Al-Qaida, no matter where they emanate from. As Commander-in-Chief, it is my solemn responsibility to make America safe in a dangerous world. The United States did not seek this war against terror. It came to us. We answered with the same principles and resolve that have shaped us for generation upon generation. To protect the innocent, defend liberty, and we keep the light of freedom burning, a beacon for the rest of the entire world, because this is a great and defining truth about our nation and our people. We do not break. We never give in. We never back down. Last year in September...
Kung Fu is hard. Getting an instant offer to sell your car at CarMax is easy.
A sigh of relief at last. The first ship carrying Ukrainian grain set out from the port of Odessa on Monday under a deal sealed by the United Nations and Turkey, expected to release large stores of Ukrainian crops to foreign markets and ease a growing food crisis.
What we have witnessed today in Odessa is an important starting point. It must be the first of many commercial ships bringing relief and stability to global food markets. The Black Sea Grain Initiative allows for significant volumes of exports from 3 Ukrainian ports. Together with the agreed facilitation of the unimpeded access of Russian food products and fertilizers to world markets, it will bring relief and stability to global food markets and help tackle the global food crisis. Ensuring that grain, fertilizers, and other food-related items are available at reasonable prices to developing countries is a humanitarian imperative. People on the verge of famine need these agreements to work in order to survive.
In Moscow, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov hailed the ship's departure as very positive, saying it will help test the efficiency of the mechanism that were agreed during the talks in Istanbul.
Let's shift our attention to Iraq. A political impasse there has thrown the entire country into chaos.
Okay,
Over
this is
the
about
weekend,
the Iraqi
parliament was stormed once
parliament
again, but this
taken
time
over
the
by
protesters have refused to
people.
leave. They're making sweeping demands from the
Crisis in
political leadership.
Iraq.
Our next report tells you more about the worsening situation in the country.
It happened once again. And this time, they have no plans to leave. The Iraqi parliament was stormed once again. Tall concrete barriers failed to stop these angry Iraqis. There was a heavy police presence, even tear gas, but the protesters overpowered everything that came in their way. Once they were inside, they made their intentions clear.
This is a message to the parliament members from the Iraqi people. It is over, the authority of this parliament is over, and the power is for the people, and people will decide the destiny. We entered the parliament building for the third time to root out the corrupt political parties and militias. We are here to fix Iraq and get it back to its position by the word of people and with God's blessing in our leader, Muqtada al-Sadr.
Muqtada al-Sadr is the driving force behind this wave of protests. He hasn't visited the scene even once. But his supporters have crippled Iraq. They are determined. They will vacate the parliament only when their conditions are met. The protesters have lofty demands. They want early elections, sweeping constitutional amendments, and the ouster of al-Sadr's political rivals. The protesters are targeting what's called the Coordination Framework. This is an alliance of Shiite parties backed by Iran. It is led by former Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki. He wants pro-Iranian candidates to be installed in elite posts. Al-Maliki and his supporters have put their weight behind Mohammed Shia al-Sudani. He was nominated for premiership, but al-Sadr is determined to derail his rise. He first withdrew from the ruling coalition, then members of parliament from the al-Sadr camp resigned from parliament. But that wasn't enough. Al-Sadr is now waging a battle for power from the streets. His rivals are responding. The coordination framework has called for a counter-protest. The caretaker Prime Minister has issued an appeal to al-Sadeh's supporters.
It is a very difficult time. It is the bitter truth, unfortunately. We all have to cooperate and stand together so we do not push ourselves into the abyss. We have to judge by our minds, our conscience, and our sentiments, and stick to Iraq and the Iraqis, not petty interests. I call on everyone to be patient, calm, and rational, not being drawn to a clash. I call on citizens not to clash with security forces and to respect state institutions.
Its longest political crisis in years, it has only increased the suffering of Iraqis. Hundreds have been hurt in the protests. 100 protesters and 25 members of the security forces suffered injuries over the weekend. Despite the crackdown, the protesters seem prepared for the long haul. They have set up tents outside the parliament. Their takeover has only raised the risk of a violent showdown. Bureau Report. We on. Wild is one.
WeOn is now available in your country. Download the app.
So that's about the crisis in Iraq, and it shows you the power of the people. Despite heavy military presence, tear gas, and all barricades, the people pass from all these challenges, storm the parliament. Now they are in control of the Iraqi parliament, and they will not leave until sweeping constitutional changes and other demands. So when the people united, when the people determined, nothing can stop them. And the Ethiopians should learn from this one, and should learn from Sudanese, should learn from Sri Lanka. And instead of praying by the order of the Prime Minister, praying is fine when it comes to through yourself or through your institution, religious institution. That's fine. But somebody telling you to pray from outside, and even you don't know the reason, and just that's a way of controlling the public. And they are praying in. They are praying. I've seen the Orthodox. I've seen other religious institutions, the Muslims. They are praying by the order of the Prime Minister, instead of coming together and challenging him, asking the government about the truth. What happened? If he's sick, if he is abandoned the position, they have the right. They have the right to demand and demand a better system. But they are, forced to pray. So the Biden announcement about the killing of Ayman al-Zawahiri, Al-Qaida #1 after the killing of Osama bin Laden. That's also maybe a closing for some family members who lost their loved ones in September 11 in New York, about more than 3,000 people killed. That is unforgettable, and the destruction was huge. In 2001, I think, September 11. So that's maybe, it's a closing for some family members who suffered the most, who lost the loved ones. And that will be the conclusion for August 2nd, 2022 updates on different news. I will come back with other better news or breaking news maybe about Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed or something else. Thank you for joining me for today. Be safe. So long, everyone.